Good afternoon and
We
welcome
can
to
come
the
out with
singles
that.
hangout
We'll go and ask them.
for November. We are glad to be doing this by the grace of the Almighty. And my name is Iyabo Oyawale. I'm the lead servant in the House of Wisdom. And I'll hand over to our program coordinator right away.
Source the design. I was on the design myself, but I just felt like I was being told to outsource it so that you can also focus on other things. We have the IC for FS coming up. That's oh god, that's actually I don't really bring up any sympathy kind of talk, but please help me talk.
Okay, so this afternoon we want to talk about how to move on after a heartbreak, because we know that some singles have issues with that, and we want to help you by talking about this. And we have a very experienced speaker in the house, in the person of Janelle Obieroma. I'm sorry, Ma, if I didn't mention your name correctly. Okay, so Janelle is an empathetic counselor dedicated to providing a safe space for individuals to explain their emotions and challenges. She's experienced in guiding clients through life transformations, fostering resilience, and empowering them to make positive changes. By the way, she is a lover of God and a humanitarian who believes the world would be a better place if we were kinder to one another. She's also a wife, a mother, sister, ordained pastor, facilitator, and she's a facilitator, polymath, and your friend. By the way, she's a woman of many parts. She has authored several best-selling books, including the acclaimed Women of Life. She's widely read with qualifications in law, business management, relationship counseling, and professional counseling, as well as entrepreneurship and business training. Like I earlier said, she's happily married for over a decade. Can you believe that? To Pastor Donald Obieroma, and they are blessed with children. She is also an alumni of the Billy Graham School of Evangelism and the CEO of Unveiling Grace Training and Counseling Center. She's a licensed and sitting therapist with clients from all over the world. I can tell you, our guest speaker this afternoon is loaded, powerfully loaded, and we are grateful to have her because, like I usually tell you, that I take special pain to know the people who will speak on our platform. I always try to make sure there are people that know God. And Mrs. Janelle knows God. And she's going to tell us the biblical perspective to moving on after a heartbreak. You are welcome, and you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I appreciate all you're doing for young people. Thank you. God bless you and honor you. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to share this afternoon. Hello, everyone. Hope we're all doing well. Our weekend. So today we'll be talking about moving on after a heartbreak. Now, what is a heartbreak? A heartbreak is that feeling of pain, anguish, grief after disappointment, after unmet expectations. Because most times when we get into a relationship, we come in with so many expectations. There's so much we want. We want someone we can feel safe with. We want someone that could be the one. We want someone that will lead us. And most times when a relationship ends, it's mostly because those promises were kind of broken. You know. Personally, I knew God from when I was very young, and He already taught me that I wasn't supposed to date. I should just find somebody and get married to that person. So for a long time, I was the kind of late bloomer. So I wasn't really having a lot of toasters. I was just going my own and just. Then all of a sudden, it was as if how it happens for a woman, you just become attractive. Everybody is asking you out. And I was like, who do I choose now? And I was quite picky because I didn't want to date. I didn't want to be a serial dater. I didn't want to see two guys and 10 guys and they will say, I've dated that, I've dated that. I didn't want that because that was my instruction, from growing up. So I thought I took my time to pick the person it was going to be. I felt like this was going to be the person and we're going to get married. But it wasn't the person. And at the moment I entered, I knew I had made a mistake. But then the devil kept accusing me then, telling me, you have said this person you will marry. You have entered, you must stick with this till it leads to marriage. But it was not God's plan for me. All my expectations were unmet. I cannot say he was such a terrible person, but he was not for me. I knew I had made a mistake and I knew to take it. But eventually it became so much that I had to end that relationship. And then when I ended it, there's something sometimes we're not prepared for. The other person's response. Are they ready to let go? Sometimes the person may be the one that ended it. You may not be ready to let go because there are two types of heartbreak. There is the one where you realize you've made a mistake and you need courage to be able to end it. Then there is the one where the other person feels like you are not for them. So it's a different kind of pain, but it's still heartbreak. So in this case, if it's the case where you are the one that's ending it, you want to be sure that the other person is also going to just let it end without any drama. You see, so God helped me in that. I was able to end it. But at some point, after some months, I thought it had ended. The person was trying to come back, and it was not funny. But God helped me. That's what I would say. God helped me. Now, after a heartbreak, there's always that sense of disappointment. There's always fear of the future. Because a friend asked me, this one you've ended, broken up with this person. What are the chances that the next person will be better than this person? You see, that is why people sometimes still stuck in a bad relationship. Because they are like, what are the chances that this next person is not going to be worse? Because there's something heartbreak does to you. If you don't treat it well, it can affect your self-esteem. It can make you attract the very thing you don't want back to yourself. So it's important, first of all, after a heartbreak, allow yourself heal. Don't be in a haste to go into a relationship. Calm down. Forgive yourself. Look at the whole situation. Sometimes you have to kind of distance yourself from the whole thing and look at it like an onlooker. What could I have done differently? Maybe, first of all, it's a foundational issue. I chose wrong. Okay, how am I sure I won't choose wrong again? What were the things that influenced my choice in the first place? You need to be able to ask yourself some very, very important questions. Then you forgive yourself for your mistake because most times the red flags are always there. But sometimes they are not, but sometimes they are. So in a case like that, where you knew you could have done better and yet you went ahead, you need to learn to forgive yourself. So you don't project that hurt, you don't carry it into the new relationship. Because sometimes after a heartbreak, some people, what it does is that they just go into a rampage, dating serially. That's why you see a young girl, you're asking her, what's your body count? She cannot mention it because the number is not something that should be said. Was it her fault? No. And also, yes. It is the result of the heartbreak that was not properly processed. So it resulted in her repeating the same mistake. After a heartbreak, tell yourself, I don't have to be a mess to be a message. I will not repeat my mistakes. I remember a young lady I met years ago. I was running a mentoring program then. She got pregnant for this guy, and the guy forced her to remove it, and she removed it. Then she came. That was when I got to meet her, and then I told her, you don't need this kind of relationship at this time in your life. Focus on your academics. She was a student. The next thing, 2 months after, this girl came back to me to tell me she was pregnant for that same guy. Before I met her, she had had like several abortions. Then just in February, she just had one. She was so broken. And 2 months again, she was pregnant for that same guy. And what did he do? The same thing he used to do. He denied it. And this time, the doctor told her if she removed it, that was going to be the end for her. So she had that child, which thank God now the child is grown. But what I'm trying to say is that after a heartbreak, learn. Because you hear a lot of inspirational stories about people who will tell you that, oh, I was a mess, I had 20 abortions, I had 5 abortions, but now look at me. But it's not everybody that the story ends like that for. There are many people that because they didn't figure out that I don't have to be a mess to be a message. I don't have to make stupid mistakes. They were reckless. And it's taken a lot for them to pull out of it. So after a heartbreak, take stock of your life. Calm down. Don't be in a haste to just jump into a relationship. Don't repeat the cycle. Ask yourself questions. Before you date again, as a Christian lady, pray. Pray. In fact, after that relationship I told you about, I said, God, since I've already made a mistake, the next person must be the one. Otherwise, I am not even doing. I don't want to be distracted. So when I met my husband, I heard the voice. I heard it loud and clear. So when we started dating, we said, okay, let's see how it's going to go. And then within 3 years, we got married. And we've been married now for almost 12 years or thereabouts. So what I'm trying to say is that after a heartbreak, after a mistake, don't become a serial dater. Don't go into a relationship without being healed. Don't move without the voice of God. Because yes, there are many people that came out of it. There are many stories like that. But there are many as a counselor that I cannot share that the story is not sweet. Because they didn't process their pain right. Heartbreak is part of life sometimes. We don't, if we know better, we'll do better. But there are times we don't know better. But it will be foolish for you to go through something and still not learn from it. So after a heartbreak, calm down. Like I will say it many times, calm down, calm down, calm down. Forgive yourself. Yes, I shouldn't have done this. Yes, he shouldn't have treated me this way. And also, another thing, don't reduce your standards because of the other person could not meet up. Don't think you are unworthy. Don't let such thoughts stay in your mind. You need neutral relationships at that time. I remember when I had that breakup, I was in my room and I used to think a lot. I had to call my friend who was a safe place for me at that time. And I said, I'm coming to the hostel. And I went to the hostel for like a week. Normally, I don't like staying in the hostel. I used to stay off campus. But I needed that environment. Don't stay in a place where you are depressed. I had another friend then. She would call from Abuja because, whenever she had an issue, she would just want to be in a safe place where you can hear the right things. Because there are people who have gone into depression, even attempted suicide because of a heartbreak. It's such a terrible pain, and I cannot blame them. I remember, I know a lot of us know this lady, real worry Pekin. When she talked about, someone asked her, I think today he asked her, how did she meet her husband? And then she said, she suffered a heartbreak. And she told herself, it's God that she would God cannot break her heart. That is the safest way. She started going to church that period. She became so connected, so, involved in church. And that was how she met the husband who she's now married to. So when you're going through that, look for a safe place. After a heartbreak, check your circle. Check how supportive are they. You don't want to be around people who are always, talking you down. You don't want friends who will yab you about, you're not alone. Me, I'm going to see my boyfriend. You don't need that at that time. So you will not be in a haste to go and look for another boyfriend and get into trouble. So calm down, pray about it. One thing I know is that every time we ask God for help, He always helps us. But the thing is that sometimes we don't ask God for help about certain areas of our lives. And that was the reason why a man like David in the Bible, at some point, he kind of lost his way. But thank God he was able to retrace it with what he did with Bathsheba. David lost his way because he wasn't, if you look at the Psalms, you will see that he used to tell God that he had a relationship with God, but he was not, his personal needs, emotional needs, he didn't bring that up before God. But when he started doing that, you could see that you could see how he was advising, young men and women later on in the Bible, because he had learned, don't keep any part of your life secret with God. When you're feeling lonely, when you're even feeling horny, whatever it is, talk to God. Be vulnerable with God. After a heartbreak, you need that friendship that cannot fail, the one that will not carry your gist outside. You need God. So learn to sit, play worship songs, control your atmosphere. Don't give in to thoughts of depression. As much as you can, fight for your life, because let me tell you, that thing is going to pass. You will even look back and say, you mean I was actually feeling sad about this thing? There are many things that look so big that when you allow the Lord help you, guide you through it, you will later be like, when you even see the boyfriend said I was making you cry, say, this boy, hey, you even be embarrassed at yourself. You even feel embarrassed that you mean I was actually thinking about doing this, doing that because of this one. Hey, with all due respect and humility, not like you are belittling him, but you know that. So allow time to heal you. It's not a do or die affair. That person that broke your heart is not the best there is. If he is, he will not have broken your heart. Or you will not have broken his heart, as the case may be. There is something better God has for you. So I want us to have an interactive session. I want you to ask me questions about anything concerning what we've talked about. Because I already said several things. Because it's not rocket science. It's not hard. The first thing I keep saying, calm down. Don't believe that lie that you can just go on a rampage and then you will still sort it out later. Don't let down your guard. That's what I'm trying to say. Be more careful about your decisions. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Like this thing that has happened, by the grace and mercy of God, it will not happen again. That should be your posture. Because I talk to young girls and boys, and sometimes I don't like the stories that I hear about how from one heartbreak they just seem to go off like that. Before you know what, talking to a girl, she's 25, she has had 15 boyfriends. What are you looking for? How? A heartbreak cannot heal a heartbreak. You cannot use something carnal to feel something that only God can feel for you. That pain you're feeling is not another boy that's going to take care of it. Because I always say something. The Bible says that two shall become one. Means a whole person and another whole person shall become one. Not half, not a broken person. Doesn't mean there's no hope for a broken person, of course not. Because Jesus mends the brokenhearted. No matter how shattered it is, once you give it to him, there is even something called secondary virginity. Even if a girl has made terrible mistakes, the Lord can mend her back. She will not remember her past. She will be so far from that person, she will not know she was even that person. So that I'm not saying the Lord can mend you, but I'm saying that don't deliberately let yourself get broken over and over again. There is an untold tale there, which is only a therapist that may be able to tell you. A lot of people, when they go down that hole, they don't come out as easily as they may like to make it. You don't have to become a mess with the hope that I will later now use my experience to teach people to help them. No, it doesn't work that way. Not all the time. Your life is not an experiment. You've made a mistake. You've made it once, you've made it twice, you've made it till you met me, till we having this meeting. Tell yourself, enough is enough. At this time, I'm going to focus on personal development. I'm going to focus on my relationship with God. I'm going to become a whole person. I'm going to heal spiritually, physically, emotionally, medically, because sometimes there are issues from some of such relationships that could affect a person's medical history and all that. So you have to become a whole person before you go into another relationship, because God loves you so much. He wants you to have the best. He wants you to trust Him with your errors, with your mistakes. He wants you to give Him, to hand over everything over to Him. Give Him your hands. Give Him your hands. Don't try to feel it, to take care of it by yourself. I will just move to another relationship. After a heartbreak, calm down, forgive yourself, forgive the person. Very important. Forgive the person. It may not come at once. But let go. Release them. Release them to God. Relinquish the need for control, for judgment, for revenge. Whether you're a boy, whether a girl, even if you have their nudes, don't go in that path. Don't go in the path of revenge. That is too low. It's not going to work. Let God heal you. Let Him make you whole. And then you will see all the great plans He has for you. You will look back and you'll be like, the Lord helped me. So I would like to hear from us at this time. Sister Iyabo, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that speech you just made, and I've got some questions to ask. Now, I know in dealing with young adults, I know that some of them they try to get into relationships to escape the pressure from their parents at home. If our young adults find themselves in that kind of situation, what do we do? What does he or she do? Because I know some of them are having issues at home and they feel getting into a relationship is a way of escape. Mrs. Janelle is not on right now, but the thing is, if you are a young adult and you are watching, you are following this webinar, I want you to know that getting into relationships is not the solution to escaping from pressure at home. Please, let's note that. That is not the solution. The solution is for you to get into maybe a counseling session with somebody who is experienced or even a therapist to help you process what you are feeling and what you are experiencing. Well, let me see if our guest speaker is back. Okay, so
Issue. Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, so I was asking a question. Thank you for that powerful presentation. So I was
Thank you.
asking that in talking to young adults, I find that some of them enter relationships because of pressure from home. They see it as a way of escape. What would you advise young adults in this kind of situation to do?
Okay. Um, it's not always smart to do things because of pressure. Because your life, it's better that you know you're ready for a relationship before you start a relationship. Whoever is pressuring one to be in that relationship. You see, that relationship I told you I had, the one I had before I got married, um, it was similar to this. I had many suitors at that time, and then someone very close to me was like, "Ah, this one is okay now." She was the primary reason why I went in, even though it was not okay for me. So it never really ends well. Don't do anything. I see you. You're already entering your 20s. You've never dated. What are you waiting for? I said, but this is not the one. He said, ah, no, no. Ah, look at it. He's in final year. He's reading this. He's from the part of the culture. You know, the person was naming all the points for me. Things that me I didn't see as priority. He made her priority my priority. And at that time, against my better judgment, against my desire, I kind of felt like, okay, why not? So it's better to don't let yourself be pushed. Okay? It's take your time, look at the person, with your eyes clear, choose for yourself by the word of God. Since you have the godly standard, the things that you're looking for in the person, be sure go into a relationship because it is what you want to do. It is what God wants for you at that time as well. Not just because everybody else is having a relationship or because you're facing pressure from your friends or family. No. I think you should have enough courage to stand your ground until when you meet the person you want, that God is leading you to, and until when you're ready for the relationship. That's what I would say.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for
Thank
that answer. Now, when you're talking about processing your pain, and I know some young adults is watching or listening to this and will be saying, how do I process the pain?
Okay. To process your pain, first you have to acknowledge it, that it is there, and that it doesn't make you a lesser person. You have to be able to acknowledge it. Don't just pretend like it didn't happen. Don't. Sometimes we want to gloss it over, like I'm tough. I didn't feel it, and then sometimes it comes up later. Processing your pain simply means acknowledging it and then learning from it at your own pace. Okay? Learning from it. Looking at it again, detach yourself from the situation. Sometimes when you have to give people advice, you're always very smart. When is your own life sometimes? This the wisdom, you're not reacting yourself. It happens to every one of us. So processing your pain means being able to remove yourself, your emotions. I've been looking at this thing like this. Okay, so what is the end game? What's the take home from this? After you have acknowledged it, if you want to cry, cry. And like I said, be in a safe place whenever you are that vulnerable. Don't be alone. Don't be isolated. That's very, very important. So that's what I mean by processing your pain.
Thank you so much for that. And also, because adults will tell you, because they're trying to escape the pain, they indulge in sex. They're like, I feel lonely. Let me use sex to cover up the pain. Do you think that is a way to go?
No. I said something. I said, whenever you are feeling that low, don't tell yourself that you don't have to go down for this. So don't go into a vice. The reason why sometimes the devil allows people go through things is because he knows that in that vulnerable moment in their life, they are likely to make bad decisions. So you have to try to be your own strong woman, to be your own strong man at that time, so that you don't make bad decisions because of what you've gone through. Using sex, using addictions, using drugs, any other such evil kind of coping mechanism is going to be falling into the trap, the temptation that the enemy planned because he wanted to break you. Sometimes you see even not just young adults, full grown, men and women. after a divorce, after something like this, if they don't process their pain, if they don't go through it, you see some of them, you know, a woman left, let's say she left her husband because she's cheating, and then she starts dating married men again. Several of them sometimes repeating the same circle, showing the same bad examples to her children. You see, so that is not the way to go. The most important thing is after you've gone through what you've gone through, you tell yourself that this must end in glory, this will end in praise, and you be an inspiration to others, but first of all to yourself, because that's another way of people processing their pain, which can also how do I put it, postpone it. You see, you're not you didn't go through it just to bless others with it alone, just to share your story. Are you healed? Are you healed? First of all, don't be in a haste to start any activities. Make sure that you're healed so you don't project it into other aspects of your life, or into the aspect of other people's lives as well. You see, so don't you cannot use a vice to correct an error. Mm-mm. Don't develop a bad habit that will be giving the devil just what he wants. So you have to hold yourself accountable. You need grace, to be honest, because at that point your mind is not very sharp. I will tell you the truth. You need grace. You need a supportive environment. You need somebody you can be vulnerable with. You can tell, look at how I want to. If I just feel like messing up, let the whole thing just scatter. Then the person will tell you, no, stay there. I've got you. You need that at that point. And if you've not got anyone to do that for you, you need the Holy Spirit. You need God at that point, because God uses people. And if there's nobody available, God himself will show up for you. That's the way. So ensure that you don't go into vices. Don't do things that will make the devil, will make you embarrassed. Because there's something about our stories. One of the things that helps us is, how did I react when I felt this way? That's what even helps you. So if you felt that way and you did something you shouldn't have done, it even helps your healing process get longer, and you don't want to drag your pain. So you don't want to have regrets along as well. So as much as you can, look for healthy habits. You need something to put your mind on, but don't go in the way of vices. Build virtues instead. Build virtues after a heartbreak. Don't focus on vices. They are the easiest things. They are readily there. Take a smoke, take a drug, or go clubbing, or just sleep around, or just do other. Some people even go into betting, go into different things like that. But I'll advise you from because we're looking at it from the end now to the not just where you are. We're looking at the end of it. So from that place, I'll advise that build virtue from your pain. Don't allow the enemy have the final say by developing a bad habit because of the experienced heartbreak.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now, you talk about not getting into addictions, and I get what you're feeling. I won't say more than that because I also know, like you said, that when you're in that kind of state, your mind is not sharp. You are prone for the spirit of the devil that will be telling you off. Now, for many adults who have gotten into addictions, as we speak, who didn't have this knowledge we are sharing now as a result of it, what will you tell them?
I'll tell them that there is hope. That's the power of God. There is nobody that he can't heal. There is no pain. There is no damage. There is no hole. There is no foundation, no matter how cracked, that he cannot mend. I'll tell them to have confidence in themselves. I'll tell them to trust in God as well, and be willing to put in the work, because it's going to take work. You have to be able to look for an accountability partner, someone you can trust, a safe space like what you have, formed. You need that. They need that support system, because pulling out of addictions is very possible, and it can be done. It's not the end. The fact that you've gone into error, even if it's times 100, is not the end. Are you willing to do the work? Do you believe you deserve better? Do you believe you can be better? Because you have to be ready. Because even if you get a mentor today, you have to be ready to put in the work, to start taking those baby steps, to start changing your mind. You have to be ready to embrace new habits so that there won't be any void for those things to come back easily to call you or pull you back to. So for anyone who is already into addictions because of heartbreak, I want you to know that you can come out of it. You can come out of it so strong you will not even realize you were ever there. It will look like another lifetime, but you have to be willing to trust God because, like I said, there's nothing He cannot do. Trust yourself. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for, really. So you need to be able to see, tap in from your inner reserve, that inner you that deserves a better version of you, and be willing to put in the work. You'll be great. You'll be fine.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Now, my next question is, you kept talking about being home, and I always say something to our young adults in our community. I tell them two comfort zones cannot make a marriage work, and you have said it. Now, the challenge is most of these young adults don't even know they have issues. They don't know except you start talking to them and you take them back into the past. Now, so most of them that find out, okay, I have so issues from the past. How do they heal? Because these children come from toxic homes, and what do you think they can do as regards the past in order for them to be able to move on and make something out of their lives? Because let me be honest, some of our parents don't even help issues. They are so critical, but I don't want to go there. That is not why we are here. So for children that were maybe raised in toxic environment, maybe they've seen their father beat their mother or maltreat her, or even it's the mother that is maltreating the father, whatever case it is, what will you tell them?
Okay, I didn't hear all the question. I don't know if you can repeat it.
Okay, ma'am. So the thing is, in healing from the past, I have found that some of these kids don't know that the challenges they have now in relationships as a result of where they are coming from.
Okay, yes, yes. Trauma, when it's not treated, keeps rearing up its head. The person
We can't hear you, ma'am. Are you talking? So Mrs. Janelle seems to be having network. We hope to have her shortly so that she can attend to our last set of questions. But if you are watching on YouTube, please don't forget to leave a comment, leave a question. We will attend to your question. And also don't forget to subscribe to the House of Wisdom YouTube channel, because we can promise you that we'll have more and more of such content in store for you. Because House of Wisdom exists because of young adults. We exist to give you godly financial advice, godly relationship advice, godly life advice. Basically, we will give you the top perspective to living a fruitful life. And so don't forget to subscribe to our channel today. Leave a comment, like this video, leave a question, whatever it is you want. Let's have your views in the chat box. And if you've been watching since we started this live stream, I want to say thank you for your time this afternoon. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to us, and it means that you care about how your life turns out. And by the grace of the Almighty, as you commit to working on yourself and working on your issues, working on your relationships, we can tell you that it will end in praise. It will end in praise. It's not over until it's over. Whatever mistakes you have made in life, whatever mistakes you have made in relationships, whatever mistakes you have made in business, even as a young adult, we can tell you that you can still make it work. You can still make your life work. You can still make your relationships work. You can still make your businesses work. Yes, that is why we are in House of Wisdom. And so we're talking about two fractured souls not being able to make a relationship work, especially a romantic relationship. And I always emphasize this to our young adults, our single parent communities, and also in our digital marketing ministry platform. Both platforms are outreaches of House of Wisdom, and you can get a lot of help through those communities because we don't believe in doing life alone. We believe that when we come together, life becomes sweet, life becomes prosperous, life becomes beautiful. And so we will drop the link to the Singles Hangout community as well as the DMM platform, and you can join to have a feel of what it means to be part of a family of God. And so when you are fractured, when you have a toxic past, you suffer from trauma at home or wherever, we want you to know that the future can be bright. And the fact that you have suffered a heartbreak in a relationship does not mean it is the end of your life and does not mean you cannot make relationships work. All it means is for you to sit down quietly, reflect, and deal with your issues before getting into another relationship. Just like Mrs. Janelle has been saying since we started this live stream. And so sit down, look at your issues, and deal with them. Also, she mentioned forgiveness, and it's so, so important before we end this live stream that we talk about forgiveness. Most of us, when we talk about forgiveness, we feel that we have to forgive the person that hurt us. No, you have to forgive yourself too. You have to forgive yourself too. Because if you don't forgive yourself, you won't be able to move on. It's very important that we learn how to forgive ourselves. It's important that we learn how to forgive ourselves. It's very, very important. Get yourself out of the perfectionist mindset. Get yourself out of the blaming mindset and know that no matter what has happened in the past, you can start on a clean slate. So forgive yourself. And not only forgive yourself, can you guys keep on? Not only forgive yourself, forgive the person that hurt you. Because it helps you to move on. Without that forgiveness, you won't be able to move on. And so I believe you're doing one or two things from this live stream. If it's been worth a while, please give us a like, subscribe, share this video, comment on it. And if you have questions that weren't answered in the live stream, drop it below And I want to say thank you for following this month's edition of the Single Roundup. We will do this again next month as the Lord enables and keeps us. And I would like to say thank you to our guest speaker for today, Janelle Obieroma. Thank you for your time. God bless you. Respect to the fact that you were having network issues, you still made it work. We appreciate you so, so much. We look forward to another exciting edition of the Single Hangouts for November. God bless you and bye bye. I sign out.